I was wrong about Diablo 4. There, I said it. I said some things about 2 weeks ago that were completely untrue, and now I got to backtrack about it. How about it, y'all? You got Hawg. Thanks for stopping by. So look, about 2 weeks ago, I put out a video talking about the Eternal Realm killing patch, and a lot of y'all agreed, and some of y'all disagreed. And in that video, I said that the Diablo 4 developers were intelligent people. I was wrong. I lied. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't lie. Maybe I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, or I was uneducated about it, or trying not to insult anybody's intelligence or whatever. But after watching this video, Adventure with a Dev, they were playing some dungeon. It's actually not developers. It's two game designers, two dungeon designers. Designers are artists. Developers are people that work on the game systems and actually make the game a game. So it's really not an adventure with a developer. It's an adventure with a designer. Okay. But after watching this and watching them play the game, well, let's go tinfoil hat even further. They're not really playing the game here. Do you see a camera set up, or you will not see a camera set up behind them showing them playing the game? They're sitting on a couch with a controller. Okay, and I will show you a little bit later in the video why I say that. They're not actually playing the game. But they're sitting here chatting about things that we don't give a shit about. They're talking about tile design, talking about what they did to be designers and all this. And it just shows me how out of touch these people are with the player base. They don't understand that the game launched on June 6th. We cared about artwork for the first 3 days. After that, it's wore off. We don't care anymore what that looks like. They started the video off talking about emotes.
Do we have any emotes?
I can taunt you.
Taunt me.
There are so many ways I can kill you.
That will be your last stupid mistake.
Nobody cares about emotes. That's wore off already by now. Why are we talking about that? You go over to Path to Exile. We saw at ExileCon about, 2 weeks ago, that the head guy, Chris, got up there and played the new game in front of everybody. Let's take a look at what he did on his stream, just kind of compare it.
We have Blackjaw, former overseer of the Mechanarium. When the Val fell, he was turned to stone and now guards the area. In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the tools in the Monk's arsenal, especially the combo of Freeze and Glacial Cascade. Now, if you're a PoE 1 player, you might think you can't rely on Freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it. But in PoE 2, that's changing significantly. In PoE 1, Freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target, or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in PoE 1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses because freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you could only really rely on while pack clearing, and not something you could use as a core part of your build for boss fighting. In PoE 2, though, all crowd control mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to build up to a freeze or stun, or whatever other CC mechanic that you're using. It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot smaller than those games. When you freeze an enemy, it increases the amount of freeze you need to do to get another freeze, but the increased difficulty bleeds away slowly. More freeze will always let you freeze the boss more often, but this system means that it will not get out of control in party play or interact badly with other CC mechanics, allowing us to let these kinds of mechanics actually work against all bosses.
In his stream, he's talking about why things are the way they are, how things were in previous instances of the series. You're going to have to use all of your tools in the Monk's arsenal to take down, and he's actually fighting a boss. And he's actually using skills that make sense to the regular players. Well, to a regular player that watches them play this game, they have no clue what they're doing. Let's take a look at the build they're using during this playthrough. Now, a little of it's confusing because they keep swapping back and forth between these two people. So you don't know exactly who is playing what. You can kind of get an idea, but they never say, hey, this person's playing this character, this person's playing this character. So we have a barbarian and then we have a rogue, and they're both level 50, okay? And the skills that they're using, we've got some kind of jank build right here. So we've got stomp and leap. And then we've got the ultimate, forgive me, I'm not a barbarian player. We've got Hammer of the Ancients, a basic skill, and some kind of cull or something, whatever that is. I was curious, so I went over and looked at D4 builds or D4 Planner, see if there was any kind of build that used this kind of setup. Of course, there ain't. So then I got to wondering, like, is this a new secret build? The Leap Stomp / Hack Cull basic attack build? Y'all, this person literally attacks with nothing but the basic and the stomp. I don't think I ever saw her one time use Hammer of the Ancient.
Like they're all the different like looks of the dungeons that we have in the game. You know, your standard caves or your crypts, or in this case, these are
all they're doing is
like
using basic
Cathedral of
skill.
Light themed or Zakarum themed. Our dungeon artists have this really cool thing they can do where they can
using basic skills when we're talking about themes, while the entire community fan base is begging for more systems, more things to do. We're talking about themes. They are so out of touch with the community and the player base and what makes a good game good that it's not even funny. They are lost as last year's Easter egg. They ain't got a damn clue. She's sitting here spamming basic skills, not one time hit a Hammer of the Ancients. She's treating Hammer of the Ancients like it's an ultimate. So if you have developers that you're showcasing that don't even understand how to play the game, just by their actions show you they don't understand how to play the game. All they're worried about is talking about how pretty everything looks. You're screwed. But this is minuscule compared to what the bomb she drops on us about collective. Diablo 4 was designed as a collective.
It's a collaborative job. People will create an initial dungeon, and then another dungeon designer will come in and then wind up basically giving both critique, and then also will make it better from there, and they'll understand, hey, this was like the core of the original idea, and keep that, and then we'll modify it to fit standards for the rest of the game on making sure, like, hey, killing all these monsters in this area is too large, so let's actually shrink it a bit.
Oh my god.
So then we'll all get together and like play test it, and then we have a board where we keep like feedback and stuff like that, so you know, people can have like notes or whatever, and we'll talk about like what was good, what was bad, like what kind, like when we'd offer like suggestions on like things that could change or things that could improve it, stuff like that. We try to involve as many people as possible.
Oh god.
And then like Josie said, usually at some point we tend to like swap designers on dungeons.
No, what?
And it also makes sure that, like, you know, if there's like bugs in the dungeon later, pretty much anyone can solve the bug.
That's never a good thing. Never. The reason I say it's never a good thing is my father is a software engineer. Owns his own software thing. He's his own man for one reason. He only works by himself and designs software by himself for one reason and one reason only. And he told me this 2 weeks ago. We were going fishing, and I was filling him in on all the stuff that was going on in Diablo 4 because I wanted to hear his feedback as a game or software developer. He doesn't do games, he does software. He's been doing it since the very late 70s, early 80s. And he said that one of the basics about coding, or he doesn't like me to call him a coder, one of the basics of writing software or programming is the more people, the more hands that you have in a piece of software, the more clusterfuck it's going to be. He has a hard time going back and fixing stuff that he wrote 6 months prior because he don't remember what he was trying to accomplish in that particular moment. My dad's a very smart man. So if you apply that times 100, times 10, times 5 different, let's say 5 people, you're going to have a problem. She goes on to say that they have one person that'll design a dungeon and then basically let everybody raise his hand, basically let everybody know, hey, I'm done with my dungeon. Can y'all come check it? And so then they stop what they're doing. So let's think about what a massive time waste. So if you're wondering why they can't get anything done, why Baldur's Gate can release a hotfix like instantaneously to fix something, and Diablo 3 they can't do it, it's not because they need to get it approved or all this horseshit excuses that they always feed us. It's that their system as a whole, their collective developing system is broken. Is fundamentally flawed at its core. So what they do is this man, let's say me, I get done, I'm making this badass dungeon, I raise my hand and I say, I'm done. Now, let's say there's 5 people on the team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 guys now have to stop on the task that they're on to have a powwow. We got to have a powwow now because one guy's done. Now all 5 other people got to stop. So now we come together as a collective to ensure that Timmy here feels good about his dungeon and we can give him feedback and direct him in the proper way. So not only do you have a collective and you have multiple ideas, but you also have multiple personalities and everybody has their own agenda, especially in a corporate world. So just to play devil's advocate and show you the different sides of all kind of things that can happen, and just that show you that I understand deep diving into a problem or to a situation. Of those said 5 people, you're going to have personalities that clash with each other, or you're going to have secret animosities or secret beefs or secret jealousies or hidden agendas. So let's say that I come up with a really badass dungeon, but Billy across the room, he don't like me. And he knows that I could possibly get a promotion because I come up with cool ideas. So because it's a collective and Billy doesn't like me, he can shoot down the dungeon. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm saying that's the possibility of working with a collective. Okay, so if any of y'all have ever worked on a team in a corporate setting, you understand what I'm talking about. There's always somebody that's got some kind of something. A perfect example is in the movie Big. If you've never seen Big, and the guy with a really good, Tom Hanks with the really good toy ideas, he's sitting in that meeting and he calls out this guy's building. He's like, what's cool about playing with a building? Well, that's the exact thing that we're dealing with now. And if you call that guy out that's made the shitty idea, the guy with the good idea is going to get that guy mad at him. And there's all kind of, it's just a giant clusterfuck. All work is ceasing on all of the other stuff that those people are working on, so they can be pulled off and go game test. So that's what she says is, we play test everything. No, y'all don't. Y'all walk through the dungeon to see what's going on and see the achievements, but there's no way that y'all play test all of this and say, man, this is cool. And if your idea of play testing is doing what y'all are doing here, then I understand why we see the problems that we're seeing. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is the more hands that you have in the cookie jar, the more the cookies turn to crumbs. If you have 50 different people all shoving their hand in the jar, you're going to get a bunch of broke cookies, and there's not going to be a bunch of whole cookies that you can pull out of that jar. And that's where we're at. Where if you look at like Path to Exile, it's a very small team. There's trust placed in those people. They're hired for a reason, right? You go out, you get that guy, you hire him because he's great and he's this and he's that and he's got a good reputation. He'll make a good game, good dungeons, good systems, whatever we hire him for, we put him on the team. And then he goes and delivers and does whatever. But over here at Blizzard, we got to do everything as a collective, and everything's got to be, cool. This works. This doesn't work. This works. And then the major thing they said is sometimes they'll just rotate people in and out. So if you've been on the dungeon team for X amount of time, then hell, tomorrow you might be on something else, and they're going to bring some other people in on the dungeon team. But it's okay because the system they have in place makes it easy for everybody to go in and edit bugs. I am so wrong about what I said. It's not even funny, and I hope y'all will accept my apology. They're not competent. They're not super intelligent people. They're not limited. They may be limited a little bit by upper management, but that's not the whole reason we have this game. There are straight up no creativity, no innovation, no nothing developers that are given that title when they're really just architects. So that's my final point is not one, but both of these people here were not in the game industry business to begin with.
Went to school for architecture instead.
Funnily enough, I actually also went to a college of architecture.
They went to school to be architects. Here is them playing the game, but none of their button mashups line up with what's going on the screen, unless it's just piss editing, which it very well could be, but they're not really playing this game at all.
And learned the basics that I need.
She's literally moving the controller around while she's dead.
And learned the basic.
Ain't it funny how that is? You ain't pulling the wool over my eyes like that. It ain't happening with this old boy. Hell no. But let me know in the comments what you think. Is this tinfoil hat or is this pretty obvious? I think it's pretty obvious, actually. A lot of the things I think y'all think are tinfoil ain't tinfoil hat to me, though, so who knows? But anyway, I appreciate y'all for watching. Do me a favor, if you want to join the Discord, we got a badass community, the House of Hawg. We ain't mild, we wild. Links in the description below. And I do stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/hog_gaming. Be doing Path to Exile and some reacts. And last night we watched Badlands Chug, some other things. So it's a lot of fun over there on stream. If you want to come check me out, that is where it is. A lot of y'all have asked for me to stream on YouTube, but the new Twitch rules and all do not allow us to multi-stream. So if you want to watch me live, unfortunately, you'll have to go over there on Twitch. It's not a big deal. Just come over there and show your support. Appreciate y'all for all the growth, all the support. Appreciate all the shout outs, all the reacts. Thanks to DM for the shout outs he's been giving me. Thanks to Asmongold for doing reacts. Y'all are kick ass. Super big thanks to the Path to Exile community for being so welcoming. It's me playing the new game and enjoying all y'all's company as well. So anyway, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. See you next time.